So, good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure for me to introduce Mr. Arne Lorenzen, an accomplished international business leader, board director, and advisor with over 25 years of executive experience. He has held several CEO and CXO roles across industries, markets in both emerging and developing economies. Mr. Lorenzen has worked extensively across Europe and India, contributing through advisory and board roles with startups, SMEs, and leading organizations. His expertise spans strategic leadership, international business development, crisis and change management, and corporate governance. He holds an executive MBA from University of Oxford and regularly engages with business school, industry forums, and we are delighted to have him with us today and look forward to hearing his insights. So, my first question for you is, with over 25 years of international leadership experience across industry and market, what has been one defining leadership movement that significantly shaped your approach to managing organizations?
Well, that's a very good question. And I think actually it's very important to reflect on major decision points in your private, but also in your professional life. I would say a major point for me was when I came to India years ago to take a position as CEO here in India. It was an opportunity for me to meet a completely different culture and a completely different market. And it was an opportunity for me to learn and not only contribute. And so approaching my position as CEO with a humble mindset, open to learning, I think that was a defining moment for me.
So, next question would be, having worked extensively across both European and Indian markets, what key differences and opportunity do you observe in way businesses operate and grow in this region?
So I think that the business in this region and the business in India is embedded in the Indian culture and civilization. And so there is a very respectful way that business can be conducted in India, taking into account all the communities around the business activity that must be respected and must be followed. And I think the Indian society is slightly more traditional and it is more collective in its approach than if you look in Europe. And so I think the underlying respect that is expressed in that approach, it is very important to keep and maintain doing business in this country.
Throughout your career in CEO and CXO roles, you have led organization through change and transformation. What are the most important qualities leaders need to successfully navigate through crisis and change management today?
So I would say in both change and crisis management, the leadership role is one of being a role model. The leader needs to act in a way that the followers of that leader can respect and accept and therefore would be willing to follow. Because a leader without followers is not a leader. So the role of role model is the key. In a crisis situation, the leader needs also to take action. A crisis is a moment of action. It is not a moment for contemplation. So you need to be a role model in the actions you take, and you have a role to protect the organization and its people in a crisis situation. So I think that would be the starting point.
My next question is, given your work with startups and SMEs and large organizations, how does leadership styles need to evolve when working with companies at different stages of growth?
This is a very good question because a company will start as a startup and evolve through its life cycles. And there will be the need for different leadership qualities at different points of the life of a company. And that's why you see entrepreneurs who are driven by energy, they want to change the world. They are good at the beginning, but very often when the company grows to a certain level, you need to introduce, I would call it professionalism. And that means you need to have procedures, you need to have governance. At some point, you will also transition from working in a startup with your own money to working in a bigger company with investors' money. So you work with other people's money. So there is a role here that changes. You become a steward of other people's money, and that changes the mindset because you need to act on behalf of those investors. And so that's what I think are the key defining differences between a very young startup and a company at a later stage.
So, with your experience in advisory and board roles, how important is corporate governance and stakeholder management in running and ensuring long-term success of organization?
Again, a very important and good question, thank you. It is extremely important because good governance and stakeholder management will contribute to the reputation of the company. The reputation of the company drives the confidence that people around the company will have in the company, in the services, and in the products of the company. And it will also be very key in terms of attracting good talent and retaining the same. So a company without a good reputation will ultimately fail. And one of the ways that you can ensure good reputation is through good management and good corporate governance. So it is very important, and I can only recommend to stick to that as a principle.
Last but not the least, sir, as a student of MDI Murshidabad, preparing to enter corporate world, what piece of advice would you like to share with us to build an impactful and successful career?
I think the advice would be you will go into the world probably as a businessman or as a businesswoman, but always remember that you are actually arriving in a position also of privilege. You will be in a leadership position. And if you are in a leadership position, you have privilege, and therefore you are obliged, you have a duty to give back. And you need therefore to, in your behavior and in your actions as a business person, to take into account the stakeholders, the country, the people, the municipal, the region, the state, and the nation around you. So you need to see yourself as a holistic person, and that will, I think, contribute really significantly to your career, and it will contribute to the advancement of your state and your country. Incredible India.
Thank you so much, sir. That's all from me.
You are most welcome.